Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home, and who wants to go with me?
Welcome to Saturday Morning Retro, Episode 9. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G Network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/RatedG4Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man? It's a historic episode. It's a historic episode. This is the first and last episode 9 Saturday Morning Retro. There ever will be. There will never be another episode 9 Saturday Morning Retro. Yeah. And it's the first episode. This is the first Saturday morning episode of 2021.
Yeah. I looked it up. That info checks out. It's 100% accurate. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
We're just making history every episode. That's all we're doing.
For anybody new to the Rated G Network, to our podcast, to Saturday Morning Retro, this is a special podcast that we do once a month, like Dan just said. This is our first of the month, right? This is a podcast where we dive into our backlog.
First of the year.
Yeah. And we end up like talking about retro games. We dive into all the games that we pick up, right? Because there are a ton, and we don't necessarily have time to play them, but this show gives us that opportunity, right? So we usually pick one game apiece. We talk about it, and we sometimes put up a game that we'd like to see either remade, remastered, or recycled. So that's a segment we'll get into in a little bit. But I have to say, things have been a little bit better in Retroland for me. I don't know if you can see behind me. I guess you can't because I'm kind of blocking it right now. But I got my TV that I rescued from my parents' place. Nice big old Sony tube TV. And I got the PS2 hooked up to it. So I got that going. And there's going to be more retro consoles getting hooked up to that. So it'll just be easier to play these games now, right? Because it can be a little bit of a pain, right? You got to dust off the consoles. You got to clean off the pins. You got to make sure the controllers work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I'll say for a tip, if you're a collector and you're buying a lot of games, I would, if you can, try to test everything when you first get it, right? Because it's terrible when you get a lot of games and you don't test it. Yep. And then you finally want to go play it and it's not working for whatever reason, right? Yep. Now you get to research, is it broken? Is the pins missing? Like, especially like retro, like old cartridge games. Oh, yeah. But I want to say I'm super happy. I hit 4,000 games, right? Nice. Finally. Nice. When we started the show, when we started the main show, I thought I was at like 500, maybe 6, right? I was at humble beginnings, and I finally hit 4,000. So super happy. And I started our Instagram feed just to show our pickups, just show my pickups. Yep. And it's grown. It's sort of grown to be like sort of our bread and butter. Our main thing is our Instagram. Yeah, right. I just want to thank everybody for the love. But nice. I hit 4,000. Definitely had a lot of pickups over the holidays. I don't want to go into everything all at once. I do want to go into the heavy hitters. But let's get into the show. We got an awesome show this month, right? I digged my backlog, got the Wii, dusted off the WiiU, and I played Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. I'm going to talk about that. I know you're going to talk about Battle Arena Toshinden, right? That was sort of a launch game. The original, the OG, the first one.
PlayStation 1, that's right.
Launch game for the PlayStation 1. I think we're gonna have dissenting opinions about that game.
Oh, maybe. We shall see.
We'll get into that. But let's begin. We try to start the show, every Saturday morning retro show, with gaming history. This month in gaming history, let's talk about January 5th, 1985. That's about, 36 years ago.
That's right, 36 years.
Nintendo at CES. Remember, before there was the E3, all games got shown at CES. It was like the biggest technology convention. They announced that they're bringing a Famicom system to North America and rebranding it the NES.
Yep.
The Nintendo Entertainment System.
That was one of the linchpins to their success. They very smartly tried to distance themselves. Even though they were a video game console, they tried to distance themselves from being called a video game console. Hence the entertainment system. And the other thing...
And Rob the Robot.
Rob the Robot was the other thing, because it was a toy. And kids love robots, and it was kind of a sneak attack to get the game console into their household, right? It was this whole big thing. You get the light gun, you get Rob the Robot, right? And it comes in this big cool package, and kids ate it up. I mean,
you gotta put in context. Yeah, kids love robots because it was the '80s and robots were the thing.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, Rocky IV, they had the giant robot.
I was just gonna say, happy birthday, Polly.
They got the giant robot.
Which, funny enough, Stallone is removing that from the movies. He is redoing them and removing them because he hates it. I thought it was awesome. I love the robot. He's fighting the Russians and whatever. And then he gets his friend this robot. It's ridiculous.
All right. So Dave, let's just jump into our pickups. Did you get any good pickups this month?
I did. I got some great pickups. Some of them came by way of you. I know we did a trade. And I gave you Excitebots, I think, or Excite Truck for the Wii.
You gave me Excite Truck for the Wii.
Right. In exchange, you gave me MDK for the PlayStation 1, which was...
I actually bought another one. I already had it. Didn't know. So...
Geez, that's a game that needs some sort of revival, I gotta say. That game is crazy good. It's quick. I remember playing the PC demo back in the day, and I was hooked. Like, just the humor in it, and it was like it was the first-person action game. Really cool. You play as this guy in this kind of wingsuit, flies around, it's got an arm cannon. Super cool.
Yeah, well, the only problem is it's an early day first-person shooter, so you can't, it's controlling it with one stick, right, and then you can't use dual sticks. It doesn't work.
Right.
Even on MK2, which was exclusive for the Dreamcast, it's just you can't. It's kind of unplayable.
Yeah.
Kind of unplayable today.
Yeah. PC version's a lot better because it's a mouse and keyboard type setup. But yeah, no, I hear you. Also by way of Dan Robinson, the Clockwork Knight for the Saturn. I got the Japanese version, which is awesome.
Merry Christmas, your first Japanese Saturn game.
Yeah, very, very happy about that. Speaking of Christmas, Santa's Xmas Adventure for the PlayStation 4. This is a classic. This needs to be in everyone's collection.
I never even heard of that.
Neither have I until I picked it up over the weekend. I went to Best Buy and they had it for like $10. I said, yes, please.
That's probably $8 too much.
Yeah, well, whatever. I got it in my collection. I got it sealed. Right, it's going to be worth money someday. It'll be fine. Also, the game du jour, the Battle Arena Toshinden. I picked it up at the beginning of this month. I said, hey, I want to get this game. I don't have it. It's a PS1 long box. It's a launch title. So that is now in my collection. And Stunt Race Effects, complete for the Super Nintendo. Great game. Great game.
Well, the Battle Arena Toshinden. How's the box? Is it still in good condition? Does it have some wear or tear to it? I mean, how's the box?
The box is in perfect condition.
Nice.
It's even got It's even got the little flap inside, the little piece of
the foam. Has the foam.
Foam. Yeah. It has the manual with everything in it. Yeah.
Well, the manual was the cover, right? That was the one drawback. Like the manual was the cover.
Yeah. Well, that was with most games.
Most games back then. Yeah.
It is missing whatever this was.
Oh well, I guess you won't be mailing in for the warranty or the magazine or anything.
Oh, and as a bonus, this is what from like GamePro, I think. I have the secret codes. I can do all the moves.
Nice.
I also have moves for Virtua Fighter for the Saturn on the back of here, so that was a nice little bonus. He threw that in there.
You could have just got the strategy guide.
I got everything I need right here. Got everything I need.
Okay.
So yeah. So how about you?
All right. So I teased this a couple episodes ago on our Saturday morning. I think Saturday morning retro show episode 8 or one of them on the main show. I got some big Christmas gifts from clients.
Heavy hitters.
I got some heavy hitters. Okay. So clients said, "Hey Dan, what do you want for Christmas?" As a thank you for the business over for 2020. I said, hey, usually they get me an expensive bottle of whiskey. I said, this year I don't want whiskey. You know what I want? I want something more important to me, more dear to my heart. I want some sort of rare games. Okay. And they came through. I got the Punisher for the Genesis. Complete.
Woo. That's hot.
That game is expensive. That game is like $600. We're $700 complete. All right.
Mm-hmm.
In great condition. Oh, by the way, a lot of these clients I steered to Lukey Games, so they bought it on Luke. They bought it from Lukey for me.
Right. Because how are they gonna know? And
they don't. Yeah, they don't know where to buy retro games.
Right. And I know that you wheeled and dealed and said, "Hey, here's my login. Buy these games so I can get points." This guy.
I have more points than I could spend.
Well, why don't you buy me a copy of Chrono Trigger, Dan? All right, I could use it.
They don't have it. They don't have it up anymore to redeem it for points. They have certain games like they rotate that they can redeem.
Yeah, because it's probably all based on stock, right? What they have,
yeah.
They don't have in stock. Yeah.
So they got the Punisher. Super happy to have that. That's I think sort of an underrated game. I mean, it's a beat 'em up. I like beat 'em ups. It was something that was almost ported to the SNES as well. It didn't get ported to the SNES, and this game only is stuck on the Genesis. So definitely.
Well, it's Punisher's pretty violent, so I see why.
Didn't get a chance to play it yet. Definitely want to play that maybe on a Saturday morning retro show.
Mm-hmm.
I got Dragon Fighter for the NES. That game is also worth the same amount of money. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's for the NES. I actually, when I saw the gameplay of this, just one of those late side scrollers on the NES.
Mm-hmm.
I guess didn't sell pretty well. So definitely want to dive into that. Oh, I got Gargoyles 2 for the NES. Right.
Oh, shoot.
So
yeah. Speaking of that franchise, I played a couple episodes ago. Demon's Crest. Right. This is in that same.
Yeah, level. That's right. You got Demon's Crest for the SNES.
SNES. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's in that same family. I mean, this is a spin-off from the Ghouls and Ghosts franchise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have that for the NES. I got Mega Man 4 and 5 for the Game Boy. Those are expensive, even loose. Yeah. They were expensive.
Yeah.
I now have all the Mega Man games for the Game Boy. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, now 4 and 5 to add to the collection. So definitely, you know what? They need to put those games out on a collection. They don't. We have the original Mega Man 1 through 10.
Yep.
But we don't have the Game Boy games
right
in the collection. We need the Game Boy games in the collection.
We got all the ZX ones. We got all the Mega Man X ones. Yeah, everything but the Game Boy ones. Come on now.
A game that I really wanted. I really wanted this game. I really wanted to play as Mega Man. Okay, or Cammy. And that's Cannon Spike for the Dreamcast.
Or Arthur. Arthur is also in the game.
Or Arthur. Yeah. But I really wanted to play as Mega Man and Cammy. I really wanted to play as those two characters.
Cannon Spike, yeah.
This was
a
like
weird game.
This was like a weird game, Capcom game. They was experimenting with the different Capcom characters. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward. I haven't had a chance to play any of these games, to be honest. I've just been so busy with work cleaning up.
This guy is just putting them up on the shelf, the heavy hitters. No, I'm never going to get to them.
No, I'm definitely going to get to them. I definitely want to get to some of these for the Saturday Morning Retro shows this year.
Mm-hmm.
Cannon Spike is definitely up there, a game that I really wanted to try out.
Mm-hmm.
And a game that I think you had told me about, I didn't even know it existed a long time ago, and it's always been on my radar to buy because I had the first one on the NES.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a game I definitely want to play. I want to get into. I want to beat, actually. And that's I got Strider 2 for the PS2. I mean, for the PS1.
Which I think comes with the original arcade game.
It comes with the original arcade game. This game you can't get. I mean, I haven't seen it less than like $120. Dual disc set. And wasn't it was weird? Wasn't the game the Strider 1 on disc 2?
I was just
going to say
disc
that. 1.
Yep.
Which is sort of weird.
They pressed them incorrectly, so if you want to play the first one, you got to play disc 2, and vice versa. So that's
wasn't there another Strider game that came out like on Xbox Arcade a couple of years ago? I think there was like there was another Strider game that was like an Xbox Arcade type style game. It was Xbox Arcade. It only came out on Xbox Arcade. And then like
it's possible.
Because I remember
if they
playing
did. I never played it. I know I haven't heard of it. But
no, I definitely played it because I remember it was I think it was like Games with Gold at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, Strider, I didn't even know what this was. And that's when I bought Strider 1 because I knew Strider 2 I couldn't afford at the time.
It's on it's on Xbox One. Wow, Capcom Reboot Strider franchise for Xbox One. I would have never I never
because it's a digital game only. It's only digital. You can't it's not a physical for it.
Interesting. Was it any good?
It didn't pique my interest.
It looks cool. No? Okay.
It looked okay, but it didn't really pique my interest.
Ah, there you go.
So I got a lot more pickups, which I'm gonna, I'll talk about on other Saturday Morning Retro shows, but I just wanted to get the heavy hitters out the way. Super happy to have the pun. I mean, my like coup de grace, the things that made me super happy were the Punisher and definitely Cannon Spike. Those two games I definitely want to feature on the show. So I want to get it. I want to play those games.
So what I want to know is how much are they spending on the liquor for you on a normal year? Right? Because you're like, oh, instead of getting me a nice bottle of liquor, you can buy me these heavy hitters, right? We know how much these games are worth, which means, if they're buying like one or two of these games for you, they're getting you some nice liquor.
I want to say $1,000 worth of liquor. I mean, I have like a Yamazaki Japanese whiskey. It was like $900.
Oh my god, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So
I don't think I've ever ingested anything that costs more than $100, maybe. Maybe.
Trust me, I'm humbled, grateful, honored that they would even think of me, think that much of me to do that. And I just said next year I need Little Samson next year.
I need you all to come together, Captain Planet style, and produce me a Little Samson. Authentic.
Produce me. I would have had a Little Samson. I would have had a Little Samson if Luki had it. So I would have had it. I would have had it this year. So maybe I gotta think a little bit bigger next year. I gotta have a Little Samson.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is the part of the show when we get our triple R: remaster, remake, or recycle. We both pick a game. And we tell if we want this game to be remastered on mono consoles, which now would be PS5, Switch, or Xbox Series X.
Right.
Do we want a full-on remake like Final Fantasy remake or Resident Evil 2 remake?
Mm-hmm. Like kind of soup to nuts, yeah.
Or do we want to recycle, meaning we take the general premise or an idea or a character or, a gameplay style from that game and recycle it into something brand new?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I picked this month, I chose Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Saturn. I want a soup to nuts remake on this game, and I'll tell you why. When you look this game up, some people say there was a debate back in the day, back in the late 90s. What was the best RPG? Was it Final Fantasy VII or was it Panzer Dragoon Saga? Okay, I never knew that debate existed. I was a PlayStation kid.
Yeah, right.
I didn't have a Saturn. I could have had a Saturn, but I chose the PlayStation in large part because my friend had a Saturn. So it didn't make any sense for me to get a Saturn. I get the PlayStation, but then he never really got any games for the Saturn. He never got any games for the Saturn. He always came into my house to play the PlayStation because it's more popular and the games are a little bit cheaper.
Right.
So I'm on a mission to buy this game this year because I want to play it.
Good luck with
I
that.
definitely want to play it. Well, I mean, maybe I get it for. You never know. Maybe I get it for Christmas for a client. But I can't even find it. It's not even really that. It's not that many listed on eBay right now.
No, it's super rare.
And Lukey doesn't have it, but I definitely want it. It's on my list. I want to play it, and the best way for me to actually play it is if I get a Soup to Nuts remake and make it more modern.
I'm surprised. I see why you're curious about it, but it is legit an RPG, right? Which is not necessarily your kind of wheelhouse.
Make it an action RPG.
Well, that's a different story. So you want the Final Fantasy remake of this?
Yes,
that's exactly.
I want the Final Fantasy VII remake of this game. That's exactly what I want.
Well, I mean, they had the update from Limited Run. They had the remaster that came out of the original Panzer Dragoon, which was amazing. Right, so you can play that now on, I think, Switch and PS4 Switch and PS4 at least physically. Right. So that's like super cool. Yeah, all right. I can get behind this. Because I've never played it. I'm probably never gonna play it unless they do the remake or like a remaster of it. So, yeah, I'm with you on that.
I'm surprised that Sega hasn't done more with this. I mean, this is, this is the Crimson Tide, right? The Crimson. The Crimson. What was that Xbox game? The original Xbox game.
Crimson something or other, yeah.
I don't know if
it was necessarily tied, but yeah, no, I still have it downloaded on my original Xbox.
Yeah, well, this is a game that everybody will want to see, will want to play. I mean, listen, I'm sure the remaster of the original sold well with Limited Run.
Yeah,
I'm just surprised they went away from this because this was one of their big franchises for the Saturn that obviously they didn't get a chance to come back to on the Dreamcast. They did come with Panzer Dragoon on the Xbox. They didn't do so well, but that game wasn't that good in retrospect, right? Man. So they could have came back and redid that game. Well, Crimson Skies. It's Crimson Skies. High Road to Revenge.
No, Crimson Skies is the plane one. Like you're fighting in the World War II style planes. It is Crimson something, I think. Cuz that one's not on rails though. That one's kind of free flying over like a world, but you're right. It is definitely Crimson something.
It's Crimson Skies. That's the Xbox. That's the original Xbox game.
Yeah, but it's not an on rail shooter. It's just a plane game. It's different. Maybe that's the one you're thinking of.
Well, that's not okay. So no, the Xbox game is called Crimson Skies. I can't think of the actual on rails game that came out on Xbox.
Yeah. It's the one where you're riding dragons, right, or playing as a dragon.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
I know the game.
I can't think about that. I can't think of the name.
All right. Well,
but I definitely want an on rails dragon riding game with RPG elements. That's in with some action sequences.
Oh, this is the only game. This is the only game of its kind, I think. There's not.
That's the game. That's the game I want. That's the game I want.
Mm-hmm. I'm honestly not surprised because they've left dormant. I mean, come on, the Jet Set Radio franchise. They've let that go dormant, and fans definitely do want it. Golden Axe, they let that go dormant, right? Fans want it. Like they were like trying to do a remake of that game, and it just kind of, I don't know, it all went to pot for some reason. So, yeah, Sega's got a lot of Virtua Fighter. Where are you at? Right? They got tons of properties that are just waiting in the wind.
I think that's done, Dave. I think Virtua Fighter is done. I think that's done.
Why?
I think that's done.
Why? It could totally come back. 5 was good.
I think Virtua Fighter is gone.
I don't know about that. They could totally put out a VF6 and people would be about it. But I don't know, maybe not.
Oh, how did you like Dead or Alive 6?
Oh, I hate that franchise.
Oh, there you go.
It's different though. No. But Dead or Alive is trash. Like it's not a very technical fighter in my opinion. I'll say that. Like
I think my friend Brian would disagree with you on that one.
Really?
And he's a fighting game aficionado. He's a collector, but he wants to collect every fighting game known to man.
Like it's certainly they're like certainly fun, but I don't really connect with a lot of the characters. Like the only guy I really like in that series is Zack. Everybody else is kind of like, you know. I mean, it is kind of deep. You know, they do have kind of reversals and you know, combo throws and you know, get up moves and everything else. Like it's got a pretty decent system for it, but I still don't think it's that great. I think Virtua Fighter, Street Fighter, Tekken, all better franchises. But
so Dave, what game would you remaster, remake, or recycle?
So this I'm gonna have to cheat a little bit on this here because
no cheating. There's no cheating in Triple R. There's no cheating.
All right there, Tom.
Wait.
Cool your jets, Tom Hanks. Let me at least say what I want to say first. Before you get all up in arms.
There's no Konami code to the Triple R series. There's no Konami code.
Let me say my piece. All right. You're flying off the handle, and the pasta's not even cooked yet.
I know what you want me to let you say. You want to say up, down, ABC. That's what you want to say.
It's not even the right code. ABC. Get out of here. No. So the game I'm putting on the block is Crystalis for Nintendo.
Okay, why are you cheating?
Well, let me go ahead and get to that, right? So Crystalis came out on Nintendo, action RPG. Crystalis came out on the Game Boy Color as like a port. I don't know how much they added to it, but it was Crystalis for Nintendo, right? And I love that game. I rented the hell out of that game, and then I'm like, I have to own this game. And I remember getting a real good grade on my science test one time, and my dad said, "Hey, do you want to go to KB Toys and like pick out a video game?" I said, "Hell yeah, Dad." Well, I didn't say hell yeah, but I essentially said, "Whatever it's 12."
I don't think you would have been picking up that game if you said hell yeah.
Right? No, you'd be like, sorry, you're not gonna get a game now. But I like went there. The game was only like $20 or whatever, and I'm like, I want Crystalis, and that game was great. That game was worth well more than $20. The reason I'm kind of gonna cheat is that I think the game is great as it is. So I want a sequel.
Oh my God!
Have that as an option. I want a sequel that doesn't overwrite the story, that continues the story. All right. So I want the same gameplay mechanics.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
All
you
right,
want a sequel?
Right.
You want a sequel, but you
yeah.
okay? But so technically you want kind of a recycle, right? Because you don't want the same Crystalis game.
Yeah.
You want a game, and you want to further you want to do something different with it and further it along, right? Modern time. You want a modern day Crystalis. Maybe Yacht Club Games can do it.
Oh my God, that would be fantastic. Keep it the same, like kind of top down, but like do it in like full 3D with the modern graphics. Oh, it would be so good. So good. So yeah. So that's my game, and that's why I was like cheating a little bit. But I guess you're right. Recycle is the appropriate thing to say there.
Yeah, but because I mean, you don't exactly want a direct similar sequel to an NES game in 2021.
Well, story wise, yes. But like gameplay wise and all that, yeah, you have to remix the stuff a little bit. Yeah.
You want them to do something a little different to it, modernize it a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But still, okay.
Exactly.
All right, I'll allow it. You want a sequel?
Okay. There you go.
All right. So why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna jump into our backlog and talk about Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge, and Battle Arena Toshinden.
This is Justin from the Lit Gaming Arena podcast, and you're listening to Rated G for Gamers.
And we're back. Dave, let's dive deep into our backlog. Let's talk about some retro games.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm doing a double half gainer. Let's go.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
Dive and talk right there. Come on. Get on my level. Get on my level.
Dive and talk. I already jumped. I don't need to dive. I just jumped. Screw it.
Guys doing
Cannonball.
Guys doing cannonballs over here. I'm trying to go for perfection, baby. Zero splash.
Cannonballs, baby.
All right.
I'm going to talk about Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say that 3 times fast.
It's sort of the director's cut to the original Ninja Gaiden 3 that came out of the PS3 and Xbox 360. Okay. So I played this game on the WiiU, which was a launch title for the WiiU. Well, in the launch window, right?
Did not know.
It came out in the fall of 2012, November 18th, 2012, when the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions came out April 2nd of 2013. So it came out a full 5 months later on the other consoles.
That's something you don't ever see for cross-gen games like that.
Well, I mean, they had to make it in time for the launch of the Wii U, right? They came out in 2012.
Sure.
Published by Tecmo, developed by Team Ninja, the same Team Ninja that did Dead or Alive, the franchise you hate so much.
Oh, right. Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball and Dead or Alive, the fighting game series. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The famous Itagaki, who was very outspoken and hated the Tekken franchise. He threw shade at every chance that he get.
So much that he made a spinoff. He made sort of a spin. He made a ripoff, not a spinoff. He made a ripoff of it. Tekken. Battle Toshinden, Dead or Alive sort of definitely took that Tekken vibe right early on. But I digress. Maybe one day I do have the original Dead or Alive for the PlayStation. Maybe I'll do that on the Saturday when you're retro.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, this came out PS3, Wii U, and Xbox 360. It's an action adventure hack and slash game. So that's up my alley. I love my hack and slash games. So a little background on this. Again, this is like sort of the director's cut of Ninja Gaiden 3 that was on previous gen, because the Wii U started 8th generation of consoles. Right, the Wii U, PS4, and Xbox One. It came out a year early before the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So this was sort of like the director's cut, and they changed it. They changed a few things. They added an extra sort of side missions with an extra character in Ayane. I forgot her name. It was like Ayane.
Ayane.
Yeah, Ayane. She was part of the Dead or Alive series, and they had a few missions with her. Got to be honest. It's totally out of place. It was totally out of place. Didn't make any sense why I was playing as her, but in some cases, I thought she played better than Ryu. So I just want to say that. Put that out there first and foremost. I think she played a lot better than Ryu. I liked her attacks better. I liked her moveset better. I think they did a great job with her in this game, and I wanted to see more of her. And I was sad I only got to see her like 4 times. So it's like 4 extra missions.
Is she your bae, Dan? Is she your bae? Is she your video?
She's my bae, baby. She's my bae. Now I got to play as her when I play Dead or Alive.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. No, Ayane's not bad. She's got some moves.
The original game saw Ryu kill unarmed people, which everyone went up in arms for, right? And they changed that in this game where you didn't do that. Also,
wait, that was a controversy?
Yeah, there was controversy. You as Ryu, the ninja, you actually killed people. You actually killed, I think it was like 2 story scenes where you killed someone who was unarmed. You just like, all right, screw it. You're a bad guy. I'm killing you. When you had them disarmed. And that was like a big controversy at the time. So they changed that. And they changed that in this one. This is sort of the definitive edition, right? Like this is the DX edition, kind of, if you want to call it that. That and the loading screens they had like cutscenes because in story wise, your right arm, there's a curse on your right arm is like possessed by the demon sword, right? Which I'll talk about the story in a minute. In those cases, the loading screens, the cutscene for that was bananas. They changed that to where now now you're like in a hub world where your health is going down and you have to defeat enemies in a certain amount of time, which makes more sense than watching a cutscene of your arm being possessed. I gotta be honest.
Sure. Sure.
I think the Wii U is the second most underrated console of all time. So I had to play the Wii U version. This did come out on the PS3 and Xbox 360 4 months later. I do have the Xbox 360 version, which I do want to check out at some point.
Yeah, I only ended up playing the first two. I never got to part 3, but I did 100. Well, not 100%, but I did complete both those games. So
gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, but I heard 3 was a little kind of I don't know if you can kind of shed some light, or maybe we can get to that.
I'm gonna shed some light on this. Listen, the gameplay.
All right, I'm jumping ahead. A little bit.
The gameplay is lightning fast action. I will give it that. That's actually a positive. I love that part.
Yeah, it's quick. It's quick.
But you really need to learn how to dodge. There's no parrying system in this game, but you need to know how to dodge because you will be dodging every second, right? It's a button. This is a button masher game, to be honest. This is definitely a button masher. Well, that's how I got through it. I want to say I got through it through button mashing, but you got to learn how to dodge.
Is it like sorry to cut you off, but is it like the Batman games where you can be attacked by more than one character at a time?
Oh my God, I'm gonna be honest,
because the first two were like that, where they like, even if you were like trying to hit somebody else would try and get in there on you.
I'm going to be honest. I think the thing that I hated about this game was the brutal difficulty. This was like this was like a hack and slash Demon Souls or Dark Souls type of game, Bloodborne type of game. All right, it was like if Bloodborne had like 50 characters on the screen trying to attack you at once, right? I'm exaggerating with 50, but like think of Bloodborne having like 5 or 6 characters at a time trying to attack you. It's like the enemies kept never. Oh my God, they just wouldn't end. You would kill 2 and 3 more would come up.
Yep.
So, the brutal difficulty on this just drove me insane, and I think that was one of the things I didn't like about this game. Again, lightning fast action. I like that part. You get to unlock moves with in the currency system, right? You earn, and you can unlock moves. That was pretty cool. You need to do combos. Learn your combos. That's how you become more powerful. You have to time your combos on time. Like you really got to be proficient in your combo system. Totally, you know me. I'm not, and you know me. I don't upgrade. That's how I make the. I play it on easy, but then I make it difficult on myself when I don't do these things like upgrade or use combos.
See, you're making a game that's already hard to begin with intentionally harder because you're stubborn, because you don't want to get into the damn menu and pick out your moves. You got to.
Sometimes it was just frustrating because it was like certain sections where the enemies just wouldn't stop coming. You would kill 4 and 4 more would come. And it's like, why am I in it? Then why? Just put all of them out at once then if that's the case. So I know how many people I gotta, because it doesn't matter if it's 4 or 8 or 10, you have to keep hitting. You gotta dodge, attack, right? And combo system. Like you can't, you never stop dodging, to be honest. I want to say there is a glitch in this game. It is a glitch. They give you 2 costume sets for Ryu.
Okay.
Right? You get a costume set where you're like the full ninja in all the gear. Yeah, and there's a costume set where you're sort of like a ninja at the beach because you don't have the headgear, but you have the face gear. And they try to humanize Ryu to where he takes his mask off.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't work when I'm playing with the other costume where he doesn't have the headset. He doesn't have the headgear on. So he goes to pull his headgear off and nothing happens because he still has his face gear because I have the other costume. I don't have the default costume.
Right.
It makes no sense. I was like, why is he pulling his face off and it's not working? And then I realized, because if I had the original costume, he could just pull the whole mask off.
Right.
In an event to try to humanize him in the story elements.
Interesting.
The story's all over the place. I play games mostly for story. That's like 50% of the reason why I play games.
Oh, if it's anything like the first 2, it's bananas. Yeah.
Oh no! It's bananas in a totally separate way.
Is it? Okay.
I never played the first two,
Mm.
but I did play the original trilogy on the NES, and like your father dying because he had a face off with another ninja and you want revenge. It sounds cool. This story just doesn't make any sense. Like, starts with a terrorist attack in London, and then all of a sudden there's a double cross with another double cross and another double cross. Like, it's I know who's gonna double cross me every way, every step of the way, and it doesn't. And I'm like, I'm not surprised you're a bad guy. You look like a bad guy from day one when you were supposed to be my ally.
Out the gate, they're suspect. I understand.
And then the story once goes from a terrorist attack to some supernatural thing where my arm is possessed by a demon sword or a dragon sword, and then the main guy, who I think is the main enemy, isn't the main enemy, and he's really dead but revived, and then he's really and then I kill him, and then he's revived again, and he's my ally, and he's an enemy. It's just so convoluted. It didn't make any sense, to be honest. I got to be honest.
No.
Enemies have no real agenda. Let me just say that enemies have no real agenda. I'm like, your motivations for being a bad guy don't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that kind of falls in line with the first two games. The first game starts off with like a little bit of like, okay, this kind of makes sense, and then it just goes off the rails. And then part two is, so I could see you have to up the ante from the previous game, right? Like part two, they brought you to the Statue of Liberty, and you're fighting helicopters on like the top of the statue, right? So you gotta kind of elevate the game.
So graphically on the Wii U, visuals just don't have a ton of detail. And I'm sure they don't do that because they want to keep the frame rate higher, right?
Yeah.
It's boring and I mean, listen, it's just boring locale. You're in, it just looks boring, doesn't look exciting, not bright, not exotic at all. Even when you're in like the forest type, it's still like dark and dreary and dull looking. So I definitely, if I had to do a triple R, I would do like a remaster and make it nice and bright, and especially when you're in the forest. At some point, like I'm in the forest. Doesn't matter at nighttime. The leaves are still green. It looks all dark and gray and dreary, even when I'm in the forest. It just didn't look pretty on the Wii U version, at least.
Right.
It's very bloody. This is a very bloody game. It's very, very, very violent, very bloody, and you could decapitate somebody. But that goes to my second biggest issue of the game, where I can cut your arm off, I can cut your leg off, but you're still attacking me like you at full strength. Right? Like, I'm sitting here taking your limb off, and you're attacking me like nothing happened. Like you're still like a regular enemy.
It's a flesh wound, Dan. It's fine. Come on. They're trained assassins, all right? They can deal with one arm. They're good.
It was driving me insane. I'm like, how are you running at me? I cut your leg off.
Yeah,
how
right?
are you how are you attacking me with the same amount of energy? I just sliced your arm off. And they don't hold back. It's not Mortal Kombat 11. It's not to the extent of Mortal Kombat 11 because this game is 8 years old from 20, more than 10 years old, right? Like, no, 9 years old.
Yeah, 9 years
because it's 2012, right? So I understand is that at Mortal Kombat 11, at the level of Mortal Kombat 11 when you're cutting somebody, decapitating somebody. But still, like, if I take a limb, you shouldn't come at me with the same amount of energy as if I just punched you and knocked you down, right? So, but when you actually do weaken the opponent and you just put your sword through them, it's so gratifying. I got to be honest. And it's a good visual. I can
the
see
serial killer over here. When you stab that sword inside of him, it just feels so good.
The video game serial killer. Thank you.
All right. It's different.
And for a game that came out in 2012, I have to put my 2012 lens on. That would have been pretty cool. I was like, oh, you can see the sword in the blood, and you can pull it through him, right? But that's only when he's weak enough to die.
Right.
when I slice
Right.
his
You
arm
like
off,
the finisher. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Nice.
I love the soundtrack. I got to be honest, that it had a banging soundtrack. Like
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, it's good.
I had a banging. I just had a banging soundtrack. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's certain tracks at certain levels where it's like, this is
Right.
okay.
Right.
But overall, I like the soundtrack. Banging rock soundtrack to it.
Mhm.
The thing that really brought me to this game was I thought of Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, right? Because I thought of an action hack slash type of game with big boss battles, right? Like
Right.
over the top boss battles.
Right.
Because it is a
that
Japanese,
combo meter in the corner. Yeah.
it's a Japanese style game. That's the thing that really brought me to this, but it was a fail for me. In the beginning, it didn't live up to my expectations of Bayonetta and Devil May Cry. In large part because the difficulty and the amount of enemies that they put on the screen that it's never ending. It was Dynasty Warrior-esque
Well,
amount of enemies that come at you.
What I remember from the first and second one is that there are some scenarios where they'll just keep coming until you get to a certain part of the level, right? You have to pass a gate or whatever it is, and then they'll like, okay, then they'll stop coming through. So
that is only in 2 sections. That is only in 2 sections.
Yeah,
certain sections, you got to kill like 4 or 5 waves of people, of enemies. I'm gonna say people of enemies that come in your way. The bridge sequence, and if you play the game, and there is a sequence where you're on a cliff and there's a bridge, you don't have to kill them. Just run to the bridge. You know what happens in video games when you're on a bridge. Just do that sequence. You don't have to kill anybody. Just go run and do it, because just climbing up the bridge, you're gonna die. All right, if you don't get the pattern down. So just run to the bridge. Don't do that over again, because you're gonna die a lot of times in this game. Again, Demon Souls, Dark Souls-esque difficulty. You're gonna die a lot in this game, or I should say, the original Ninja Gaiden on the original Xbox. Since we're talking about the original Xbox, right?
Oh yeah. So I guess the the overall the kind of the real question is, right? You know, it's the thing we got to ask. Does this game hold up today? Is it a game you would recommend people go back and play on hardware?
I guess it all depends, to be honest. If you don't mind a boring and dull locale, and if you don't,
You're really selling it, Dan.
No, I'm being honest. If you don't mind a boring and dull locale, and you don't mind button mashing, right? If you're just in it for the crazy, stupid, over the top, ridiculous, unrealistic story, sure, buy it on the Wii U. Buy the Wii U version. I haven't played the Xbox 360 version or the PS3 version. I do have the Xbox version. I don't know if there are any changes to that, right? Because they had 4 more months to work on those on those ports. I would say, well, you know what? Let me put it to this way: if you own a Wii U, you have to own this game. This is a game that you should own on the Wii U if you're a Wii U player.
Okay.
I'll take it from that standpoint. Okay. Yes. If you are a Wii U collector, or you enjoy the Wii U and you're like me, and you think it's the second most underrated console of all time, you should own this game, because it's a good game to play. Yeah. It is a good game to play only with the Pro Controller. You need the Pro Controller.
Yeah. You don't want to be using the gamepad for this game.
This is not a gamepad game.
No.
Use the Pro Controller. You
ain't gonna have anything important on that second screen.
So let's do a sort of a review roundup of this, because this did come out when Metacritic was around, and the Wii U version of it got a 69, where the PS3 version got a 67, and the 360 version got a 70, which I do own. I do own the 360 version. Haven't played it yet. User rating is about a 75.
Right.
The best score I saw on this was about 80, and the worst score I saw on this was 50. And a lot of the issues a lot of issues that people saw, at least back in the day, were sort of the different hiccups in the game, the frame rate issues, the difficulty, the boring locale, the story is ridiculous, doesn't make any sense, kind of. Like, it really doesn't, like, compared to the other stories of the other games. so I can understand why they would give it such a low score. But I guess I'm looking at it from a Wii U collector standpoint. Definitely a game that you need to own in your Wii U. So I gotta rate this game a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. All right, that's respectable. So you're saying it's worth playing, right? You should give it a shot, especially on the Wii U. Yeah, I have to see if I own it. I played through the first 2, so why not go back and complete the trilogy? So, all right, cool. So, my game, Battle Arena Toshinden. All right, this game came out in Japan, January 1st. Came out on New Year's Day in Japan, which is insane. Right, came out in North America September 9th, 1995. That was the launch of the PlayStation 1 in America. This was a launch title with games like Warhawk and Jumpin' Jack Flash, among others. It is developed by Tamsoft and published by Takara in Japan and Sony Computer Entertainment Association in North America. This came out on PlayStation, Saturn, MS-DOS, and Game Boy, as well as PlayStation Portable, PS3, and PlayStation Vita, which was kind of interesting. So they had some ports to more modern consoles, which is kind of cool.
Well, not physical. It was digitally available. A lot of PS1 games are digitally available for the Vita.
Right. Oh, yeah. So you can get it through the store and whatnot. Yeah. This is a tournament fighter game, right? And I played it on the PS2. I played this PS1 game via the PS2, right? So I took advantage of the better loading times and the texture filtering, which made it just a little bit nicer, a little bit nicer experience. So a little bit of background on the developer and the series, right? This was developed by Tamsoft, who is most notable. You may not necessarily recognize the name, but you will recognize some of the series. The Koro Q Racing series, the Battle Arena Toshinden series, obviously, and Oni Chanbara, the Bikini Samurai Squad game series, which is another hack and slash game where you play as Japanese women in bikinis and you kill hordes of zombies. And
I don't know this series.
Oh no! Oh, I own like a couple of those games. They're okay.
I don't own that series. Interesting. I gotta buy it now. I gotta buy it.
You need to get some Oni Chanbara games. Yeah, there's like a ton of them too. So they're still making video games. They put out an Oni Chanbara game on the PS4, and typically PS4 and PC games is what they're making today. So that's a little background on the developer. Toshinden came out. It came out at a very interesting time, right? The PlayStation came out, and the N64 was also right there. The Saturn had been out for a couple of months already, right? 3D was kind of the new hotness. Everyone was kind of like, we got to make everything 3D, right?
Hotness,
fighting games were, what's that?
Hotness, monotonous. I know.
The hotness, monotonous. That's right. And fighting games were kind of in two different camps, right? There was the Street Fighter and the like Fatal Fury and the King of Fighters. Kind of, we're gonna go 2D till we die, and then there's the kind of the Virtual Fighter, the Tekken series, the Battle Arena Toshinden that are like, nah, 3D is where it's at because you can kind of move in kind of 8 different directions, right? And that was kind of like groundbreaking because now you could like roll into the foreground or the background and sidestep and all that, and that was kind of a new a whole new thing for the series, right? So
yeah.
There were 4 games. I thought there was only 3. There were 4 games for the Toshinden series. All right. 3 of them came out in America, and one of them is European and Japan only, which was kind of interesting. And, we also said before that Toshinden 1 was a launch title for PlayStation 1. So it did come in the big long box. It was a game I believe you could get on day 1 with the system if you wanted to. All right. So the gameplay now, here's where it kind of gets a little bit critical, right? Gameplay is slow. Gameplay is sluggish, like especially compared to, even just other games at the time, right? You compare it to fighting games now, it's like, oh my god, like it was bad. Frame rates, I'm assuming they were sub 30 frames per second, which is pretty bad, especially with fighting games, which you kind of want to be pretty responsive, right? So everyone's kind of floaty, and, the moves take a little bit of time to do, especially if you're playing with guys like Rungo, who's like the big dude who's got a giant club.
Yes.
Slow.
I know that guy. Well, this game was just Virtual Fighter with weapons, right? Because you did have weapons in Battle Arena Toshinden.
Yep. Everyone had their own weapons. You did have ring outs, just like in Virtual Fighter. You could do like the sidestepping and kind of the rolls, like you could in Virtual Fighter. But where Virtual Fighter was a 3-button fighter, this is a 4-button fighter, right? So you have basically slash and kick, and then a weak and a hard variant or strong variant of each, and those are like your base moves. But like there's not a lot of moves in the game. Like it was really like do your specials, right? That was kind of what I got out of the game. You can't do wake up moves, right? You can't kind of like roll or like kick from the ground or whatever. You can't do reversals. You can't do counters, right? A lot of the things you would expect.
Can't do what can you do? What can you do then if that's the
case? You can kick and you can slash, and you can sidestep, right? You are able to like sidestep and roll out of the way, which is kind of a key component. But they do have that. They do have special moves, and apparently there's desperation moves in the game too. I had to kind of look that up. I wasn't able to perform any desperation moves, but basically, if you're low on energy, you can do like a super attack. But that's only when your health gets to like a certain level. So, I wasn't too hot on the gameplay, right? Because that's really kind of the bread and butter of this, right? The game needs to have like tight gameplay, right? Everything else is kind of secondary, right? Sure, the graphics need to look good and the soundtrack needs to be like, pretty solid. You need a decent amount of characters, you need a decent amount of game modes. But at the end of the day, if the combat's not good, you're not going to have a great fighter on your hands. So it was, it was okay. It was okay. The story is kind of, you really have to read it in the book. They didn't really. I couldn't beat the game because it was very tough. So I didn't get to see any ending cutscenes if they had any. But essentially, there's this underground tournament, right? The Toshinden Daibukai, or Toshinden Tournament is what they're called. It's hosted by this secret society, this underground fighting ring. And basically, people come together to take down this society, I think. I don't know. It's a bit of a throwaway story, I think. In this case, they were a little bit light on that. So, In terms of the graphics, they're of the time, right? It's not anything to write home about. Obviously they do not hold up today because they're early polygon graphics. So,
well, any of those early polygon games don't really hold up good today, right? Like even if we go back to try to play the original Virtual Fighter, I don't think it looks that great today.
I think it looks a lot better than Toshinden does or did. Like comparatively, I would say
not the original Virtual Fighter, because they came out and changed and fixed that stuff with Virtual Fighter Remix on the Saturn. Right.
Well, there was that too. Yeah, they like kind of polish some stuff up, and 2 is a lot better than both of those. Right, 2 is even better. They have more poly fighters, but like they look good for what it is. Toshinden does not look good for what it is. Right, I wasn't really sold on it. I didn't necessarily think the characters or anything that engaging. Like the art style is okay. There was a couple characters that were kind of cool, but. Yeah, it definitely wasn't great. They did fix a lot of that with the 2 and 3. I'm pretty sure well, I definitely know the third one had a performance mode where you could play in 60 frames per second, but you wouldn't have any like textures. It would just be like flat shaded polygons, right? So you're like, oh, you want to have the smooth gameplay? Here it is. And I think 2 may have had that performance mode too. I wish the first one had that because it was a little, it was definitely a little bit sluggish.
It's the original. It's the original baby. Of course, they're not going to have it, right?
Yeah, it's not great. It wasn't great.
Especially for a launch game, right? Especially for a launch. We both pick launch games to pick.
That's true. That's true. And like I guess like I tried to kind of get in the mindset of like, well, how was Tekken 1 at the time, right? Because everyone remembers like Tekken 3. Tekken 3 is the bomb, right? Or Tekken Tag or Tekken 4, and they had time to perfect the craft, right? They had time to add all this other cool like stuff in there and build out the character roster and all that. So I tried to find a copy of Tekken 1 to compare it to, because like I think that's probably its best contemporary, and I thought I had it. I didn't have it, so I watched some videos online, and yeah, I mean, Tekken's a little raw for sure, but I think Tekken's a better game. I think it's a little more balanced if I had to compare the two, but I also may be a little biased because I love the Tekken franchise, but.
You are no. You are like Tekken is like your Final Fantasy and fighting games. You are like
man, it's awesome
and love with the Tekken series.
It's the only game that's got Brian Fury and Eddie Gordo, man. They're the best. So like the other component, right? Graphics are only 50% of the game. How's the soundtrack? How's the sounds? And sound effects are okay. The soundtrack is actually surprisingly pretty good. They had a couple toe tapping tunes in there. They had a couple bangers. So I was like, all right, I could get into this. I could listen to this music outside of this game. So I was pleasantly surprised by some of the tracks in the game. All right.
Okay.
So yeah. And I guess if I have to, if I have to say it, this game does not hold up today. All right. There's so many better games in that kind of PlayStation 1 and 64 Saturn era that you could play that I would recommend over this game. All right. Now, it's my first time playing this one. Wow. I haven't played 2. I haven't played 3. So I don't know. Maybe they're a better experience. I hear they are a little bit better. But yeah, I haven't actually played those because I don't own those. But yeah, I would definitely say skip this game. Yeah.
Skip this game. Wow. This game.
Is that surprising? I feel like you may have a different opinion.
It's a little bit.
Really?
Okay. So my opinion. All right. Well, yes. Okay. So my opinion on this game is I rented this game. It could have been from Blockbuster. It could have been from. I don't know where else you could rent games from back in those days, but I know I definitely rented this game.
Maybe
Hollywood Video. Well, I don't think Hollywood Video was around yet. Maybe Blockbuster. I think I rented this game, or maybe EB Game. I don't remember if EB Games you can rent games, but I know, or maybe I had a demo of this game. But I know I played this game when it first came out because I had the PlayStation that for Christmas. That remember the famous story. I could have had a Saturn, but I picked PlayStation because a friend of mine got the Saturn.
Yep. Well, you made the right move, obviously. So
I still have that. I still have my PlayStation.
Nice.
It's piss yellow. Oh. I still have it. I still have my original PlayStation.
Retro-bright on it, man. It's easy. Just take the screws out, retro-bright it, let it sit out in the sun. You're good to go.
So, I have my original PlayStation. I like this game. Like, I thought this was a Virtual Fighter type of game, and I enjoyed playing this game. I enjoyed playing the hell out of this game. Okay. I have fond memories of this game.
Right.
I thought it was a pretty good game. I mean, the frame rate sucked, but I thought it was a pretty good game.
So you were like 13 when you ended up playing this game, right?
When did this come out? 95?
Yeah, 95.
I was 13. Okay. I was 13 when this came out.
Okay. Have you played the game recently?
No, I do own it though. I do own it, but I haven't played it recently.
So then I hate to say it. I respect your opinion, but you need to play the game now because I think you have nostalgia goggles and you think the game is much better than it actually is. And I would bet money on that. If you go ahead and pop this game in now, you're going to go, This is and the low end, and that's being
on a Dave scale and the low end.
And the low end. That's right.
I take that challenge. I bet you this game is pretty good. It's right up there with Tekken 1.
By all means, go ahead. Bust it out. Yeah.
All right. So what would you rate this game?
Well, hold on. Before we get into that, we should get into the critic scores. All right. So again, this was a PS1 launch title. All right. The overall Metacritic score, surprisingly, tied with Razor's Edge for the Wii U. It's 69, which is very nice. User score is 89, and the best is 75, and the worst is 60 from the critics, which, that 100% falls in line, right? Between 60 and 70 is, that's, kind of where it's at. It's a very average fighter that just plays really slow, and there are better options out there. Now, if I had to score this game now, because this is my first time playing this game, I'm going to give it a hard 5, baby. That's right in the middle of the scale. And that's what it deserves. It's just not great.
I will say the worst score this got was a 60 from Thunderbolt.com, which doesn't exist anymore. But they did say this game was really sluggish, and it was a 3D fighter for novice. Right? It was definitely a 3D fighter for novice, and it had poor response time. I would love to know that. I think that was a score given in retrospect, right? I don't think Thunderbolt.com was around back in the day when this first came out.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, they're most likely taking it from the perspective of someone playing it in a somewhat modern context and going back to this old game. So, sure, you gotta give it some points because it was one of the first 3D fighters, the first 3D fighter on PlayStation 1, right? It's a brand new franchise, right? So you got to give it some points for that. But in terms of wanting to go back to this game, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right,
Yeah.
I gotta play it. I gotta play it now. I gotta play it.
You do 100%. I really want to know if your nostalgia holds up.
I think it's on the PlayStation. I think it's on the PlayStation Classic, right? I think it is. I think it's on the PlayStation Classic.
God, you want to play an even worse version of it? You're gonna get the PAL version that's in 50 hertz, and it's not gonna sync up properly. No,
I'm gonna play the PAL version. I'm gonna play the PAL version.
Man. I mean, it's your funeral.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh my God. Okay. Jesus, you're gonna go ahead and hit me up, Dave. I've just entered the 7th layer of hell, and I can't get out. I'm stuck playing Toshinden.
It's better than dusting off my actual original PlayStation.
You don't have to. You can play it on your PS2, your PS3. It's easy. You can play it on 1,000 different consoles, or you can get it digitally on your PSP or Vita.
All right, then I'll play it on a PS3. I play it on my backwards compatible PS3.
There you go. So, yeah. So I think that's gonna about do it. That's episode 9 of Saturday Morning Retro.
The first and last episode 9 ever of Saturday Morning Retro.
We have made history today, folks. We have made history. That is in the books. We want to thank you guys for listening to the show and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. It's fantastic and it means a lot. And if you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.